Hello and welcome to How to Reclaim Your Life After Cult. So, you chose this video, you're watching this video, I assume, because you left a cult. And for those of you that are new to my channel, so did I. I was born into the Jehovah's Witness religion, and I was fully dedicated for 38 years. If you're familiar with that religion, 20 of those years were in full-time service. So when I left about 11 years ago, I was penniless. I lost over 50 family members thanks to the shunning of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I lost everything. I lost every family member that I knew. I lost every friend that I thought I had, my job, my house. I walked away from everything, and I basically had to start from a backpack. So I am here to share this video about how to reclaim your life because I did. So I think I'm the expert on how to do it because in 11 years, I went from penniless and a backpack to, oh, this is my home. I live on 40 acres now in Ecuador. We have a healing retreat, and I claimed my life. I created a life that is so different that I never, ever could have imagined. And anyone can do this. This YouTube channel is dedicated to cult thrivers. Notice I didn't say cult survivors. I hate the word survivor. I am a neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner, and in that practice, I use words. I teach people the power of words to reframe not only the thoughts in your mind, but the emotions behind it and the beliefs. And our words are part of how we recreate and we reshape our life. And I never use the word survivor because notice for a moment how that word feels. It's better than a victim. We could be cult victims. That's a horrible word. Notice how that word feels. Cult survivor is a little bit better, but notice the images that come to your mind when you think about the word survivor. Maybe it's somebody that's a little bruised, somebody who's a little beaten, somebody who's had a few knocks and a few bruises and scars. And that is not me. And if you're going to reclaim your life after leaving a cult, that is not you either. You are a cult thriver, or at least that's what I'm hoping that I can teach you to be. So in this video, how to reclaim your life after cult. Maybe it's not Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe it's Mormon. There's tons of fundamentalist religions that are just as controlling. So no matter what your background is, reclaim your life. So before we get started, I have a small favor to ask. Pretty please with the strawberry on top. Would you please like this video? That helps the YouTube algorithm so that more people can find these videos, and leave a comment, even if it's just a teeny emoji or your background. Let's create a community here, and we could do that in the chat thread, and I would love to connect with you. So let's get on to how we reclaim our life. When you leave a cult, as you know, you have no idea who you are. Lots of these hardcore cults are also doomsday cults with Jehovah's Witnesses, Armageddon is coming any second. It's coming any second. So we didn't have a life. We put our life on pause so that we could live it in the paradise, in the new system. A lot of these doomsday cults, we are living for the future. Put your current life on pause, and someday all of your dreams will come true, right? Yeah, no. So you sacrificed everything to get out. Yes or no? Thumbs up that, right? You sacrificed a lot. The price for your freedom was ridiculously high. So since it was so expensive, you owe it to yourself to create the life of your dreams, to live and to reclaim what you were born to be. So exercise number 1 is discovering who you are. Do you even know? I didn't. I absolutely linked my identity to my titles of a pioneer in the religion that I belong to, sister, publisher, missionary. We had these titles of who we were, and they were all, thumbs down that one, right? In your new life, in order to claim your new life, you have to know what the heck it is. This is not a fast process. I wish I could tell you that, 15 minutes, you're going to reclaim your life, but that would be a lie. And we already came from a background of lies. This is going to take a lot of self-exploration. But at the same time, I want you to think for a moment about how much time you dedicated to your cult religion. With Jehovah's Witnesses, for most of those 38 years, it was 3 meetings, 3 church services a week of 2 hours each. That's 6 hours right there, not counting the getting ready time. Then with Jehovah's Witnesses, we preached at least on Saturdays, sometimes more. Then we were required to prepare for those meetings. We are easily, in the religion that I came from, we are easily talking about probably, 15 hours a week, probably more. Because in the full-time service that I did, I was doing 90 hours a month, math, really quick. Was that like an extra 22 hours a week on top of all the other stuff? Massive amounts of time dedicated to the freaking religion. So now that you're free, what are you doing with all of those hours? Sleeping in, maybe you're doing some obviously that time's getting filled with something, but in order to reclaim your life, I highly recommend that you dedicate the same amount of time to identifying who you are and what you want and recreating your life that you did to the religion. This isn't just free time. Well, it is. But what are you going to use with that free time? Like I said, our freedom came at such a high price that we owe it to ourselves to dedicate some time to recreate what we want it to be. We don't want to just coast. I didn't, we don't want it to just be mediocre. We could have been mediocre in the religion. That was super easy. Sunday morning, if you were used to spending 2 hours on Sunday mornings going to the meeting, your religious service, take 2 hours on Sunday and dedicate it to discovering who you are. If you were like me and you had Tuesday night meetings or Thursday night meetings, 2 hours set aside, that is now your recreate your lifetime. You need to schedule that. Maybe not forever, definitely not forever, but this is important time because you need that time to recreate your life. I suggest having a dedicated journal so that you can write down dreams, so that you can write down what it is that you would love to do. And I'm going to be honest, you're probably going to draw a huge blank at first. I know I did. Excuse me. Maybe we had ideas of what we wanted to do in the paradise, and they were probably ridiculously cheesy, like play with a panda bear or something. Yeah, that's what you're going to do with eternity. Even in the religion, they encouraged us to think about the paradise. What do you want to do in the paradise? Blah, blah, blah. And I bet you anything that most of us didn't really, other than a couple of, maybe I want to paint or something like that. You have very little life creating skills And that is why I'm suggesting that you take the same amount of time that you dedicated to the religion to develop life creating skills so that you can reclaim your life now that you actually have one. Maybe you could start with a bucket list. That's just a kind of a fun thing. That doesn't necessarily reclaim your life, but it does start giving you something that you can look forward to, something that you can think about for the future. What would you love to do? And as you're doing these exercises, wait a second, guys, this is critical. This is critical. Your creation of your life should not be practical. I don't want to hear, I don't have the money, I don't have the education, I can't because you are creating your life. Now, I'm gonna share this other link because I go into this extensively with this new channel that I have that's called Manifesting Minds. I talk a lot about manifesting. I've got lots of videos on there that are not just cult specific. That's more general of how to create your life. But one of the principles of creating your life is that we can have anything that we want. There are no obstacles unless you put the obstacles there. Creativity, imagination is what opens the floodgates of being able to create your new life. So I don't want to hear, I don't know how. Okay, I would love to do this, but if you have a but, write the sentence down anyway. We figure out the how later, but this is about figuring out what kind of life you can create, you want to create for yourself. Why is that important? Okay, so let's imagine that you're going on vacation and you book the tickets. So right now, go book the tickets for your vacation. But wait a second, where are you going? Right? How do you book the tickets if you don't know where you're going? How do you figure out how to save, how to budget for your vacation? How do you figure out which hotel to pick if you literally don't even know where you're going? The plan is later. We figure out the plan later. The destination is what you want first. And I've done videos too about some of our self-imposed limitations, like the past. So I'm going to put a link in the description there so that you can look at the video about why the past does not determine the future. But this is about reclaiming your life after you've left the cult. And the biggest exercise, the most important exercise that I will give you today, please, 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 please do it, is to determine what are your goals? What are your values? Who are you? Once you have that defined, and that is never going to be fully defined because that is going to continue to grow. If you feel like maybe one of the things that you did really well in the religion was you were a really great speaker, or you were a really great teacher, or you really enjoyed being with people. Let's just take the teacher, for example. You're a good teacher. Maybe that's part of who you are. That will evolve with time. As you're reclaiming your life, we start refining what it is exactly that we want to go for. So, also in your journal, please make a list of things that you have never tried before. This is key to reclaiming your life because you can't claim a life that you don't know you'd like. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But what I mean is, what if you're a secret, undercover, brilliant musician and you don't even know because you've never picked up a guitar, you've never held a musical instrument in your life? What if you are the most talented painter and you don't even know because you dedicated all your time to a cult and you never had time And it was selfish. It was selfish to indulge yourself, right? So you never tried anything. You never tried painting. You never tried art. You never tried wood crafting. You never tried sculpting. You never tried, whoops, that was my cat. Sorry. These are unedited. These are live, me not editing videos, mainly because I don't know how, but that's okay. So start making a list, not just of what you would like to do and all these other kind of things, but make a list of things you have never tried before. And you might say, I can't. Yeah, of course you can't. You never dedicated time to it before. You never had the opportunity to. What if you are a hidden, yoga instructor that you're brilliant at helping people harness their body? What if you could be a martial arts coach and you don't even know it because you've never tried? So make a list of things that you have never tried before. And of course, when we've never tried something before, our first inclination is, I never tried it because, I don't really know if I would be good at it. That is cult mentality. There's my cat again. Okay, now I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so going back to doing new experiences, another reason why this is so important to claiming your new life is because new experiences actually help us with neuroplasticity. It helps create new neural connections in our brain. The reason why it feels weird to try something new is because, okay, so imagine your brain and you've got all these neurons in your brain, and in between each neuron is this pathway. Imagine that's kind of like this great big old huge grassy pasture, and there is a path that is already carved through that pasture. So right now, your brain has very well defined paths from neuron to neuron, from thought to thought, that were weed whacked by the cult. And now you're not in the cult anymore, so you need new paths through the grass. Okay, so let's imagine this pasture, because my pasture is right there, and sometimes the grass gets like knee high. Maybe it's not so easy to make a new path. The old little path is the easiest. It's the easiest path, right? Yeah, but we don't want that path anymore because that is a cult path. To reclaim your new life, you need to weed whack a new path through your brain and create new neural pathways. And the way you do that is with brand new experiences. The way you do that is learning a language. I don't even really care if you master the language. Maybe you should try learning Chinese, try learning German, try learning Spanish. I don't even care if you master it. That is not the goal. Mastery, usefulness, efficiency, that is not the goal. The goal is weed whacking a path through your brain that causes your neurons to fire in a different way. This is super, super, super important in order to claim your life after a cult. Creating new neural pathways in your brain. The new experiences, like I said, painting, art, movement, dance. I don't even care if you don't like it. Do it anyway. Write it down anyway, because your goal is weed whacking your brain. Okay. I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter, so I guess this is going to have to be part 1, and we're going to do another part 2 later. So your exercises then after this video is dedicate the same amount of time that you dedicated to the religion, dedicate that to your inner journey of discovering who you are, what you like, what your gifts and what your talents are now. Knowing that it may be tricky at first because you've never really thought about it before, but this is critical to creating the life of your dreams post-apocalypse, post-cult, right? The second thing is get that bucket list going. What would you like to do? Would you like to see the Wall of China? Would you like to paraglide? Would you like to, be a zoo animal helper person? What are some experiences that you would like to have that were selfish, that were self-indulgent that you could not do in the religion because of whatever, put those down. Start creating that list. And I want that list to be as long as possible. And please promise me that you are not going to limit it because you don't have the money, you don't have the, no. Do your bucket list. Because just like any dream vacation, you cannot book the flights, you cannot plan the vacation unless you know where you're going to. And then the third exercise is new experiences to weed whack new neural connections through your brain. Okay, all right. So I'm going to have to do a part 2, final comment. Pretty please, leave a comment, put something, even if it's just an emoji in the comments, because that's how YouTube decides that people like these videos and they promote these videos to other people. And I'm really trying to get these out to people. In the comments too, if there's a topic that you want me to cover, I promise, write it in the comments and I will make a video just for you on that topic. Okay, part 2 of how to reclaim your life after a cult is going to be coming up. All right, love you.